Okay, so for this deep dive, we're tackling addiction recovery journaling.
Right.
And we've got this resource called 50 Journal Prompts for Addiction Recovery.
Okay.
50 prompts.
Wow.
I know, right?
That's a lot.
It's amazing. And we're really going to dive into excerpts from this piece by Lestallion. And, it's not just about filling pages. It's about really using it as a tool for self-discovery.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's key, having that framework for your thoughts, that roadmap.
Totally.
For growth.
Like having this personal guide on this journey.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how this article kicks off. It starts with this section, Addiction Recovery Insights. And the first prompt is, how do you define recovery? I love that because it's so personal right off the bat.
Right away.
Yeah.
It reminds us that recovery is not a one-size-fits-all, It's really about figuring out what it looks like for you on your terms. It's about owning your journey. I worked with someone one time and at the start, they defined their recovery as simply being able to get through a day without using.
Wow.
Which is huge.
Yeah, it is huge. That's incredibly powerful and honest.
It is. And, and as their recovery progressed, so did their definition. They began to see it less about just not using, but about rebuilding their life, reconnecting with family, finding joy in simple things again.
I'm getting chills just hearing that.
Yeah.
It's amazing to see that kind of transformation.
It is. It's those aha moments that make this work so rewarding.
Yeah, absolutely. And then the article goes on, and there's this prompt. What does a typical day look like for you now compared to before recovery? It's like taking a before and after snapshot.
Exactly. And you'd be surprised how many people find this one challenging at first because it forces you to really take stock, to acknowledge the changes, both big and small.
Yeah.
Sometimes those changes are subtle, like maybe instead of reaching for a drink after work, you now go for a walk.
Yeah.
Or
that's such a good example.
Yeah.
Because it is those small things that can make a big difference.
And even those small shifts can have a ripple effect on your entire day.
Totally. It's like building momentum, one good choice at a time.
Precisely. And that leads perfectly into the next section, your recovery goals, which is all about, harnessing that momentum and setting your sights on the future.
And this quote from the article really stood out to me. It says, recovery is not a race, but a lifelong journey of discovery, which I think is a good reminder for all of us to be patient
absolutely.
with ourselves.
It's about progress, not perfection, and embracing the journey with all its twists and turns.
For sure. And speaking of twists and turns, there's a prompt in this section that I think is so key. It asks, what new activities have you adopted to replace old habits? Because it's not enough to just stop the negative, right? We have to fill that space with something positive.
100%. This is where it gets really exciting. Think about what you loved to do as a kid, something you've always wanted to try, or even just something simple that brings you joy.
Right, like maybe you used to spend hours in front of a screen, but now you're learning to play guitar, or you're volunteering at an animal shelter.
Exactly. It's about rediscovering yourself, exploring new passions, and creating a life that's so vibrant and fulfilling that those old habits they lose their appeal.
Totally. Okay, so this next section is called Addiction Recovery Challenges.
Okay.
And it feels like this is where things might get a little more real.
Yeah.
Because it acknowledges that, this journey isn't always smooth sailing.
Yeah, it's about building resilience. We all face setbacks. It's part of being human. But it's how we navigate those challenges that truly defines our strength.
That's so true. And I love how the article reminds us to be kind to yourself. Recovery takes time and patience, which honestly is easier said than done.
Oh, tell me about it.
Right.
It is. And that's why I think the prompt in this section is so crucial. It asks, how do you stay committed to recovery during tough times?
Yeah, that's a big one. So
yeah.
What are some strategies that you've found have helped people that you've worked with?
Well, building a strong support system is essential. Surround yourself with people who understand your journey and can offer encouragement without judgment. Maybe it's a therapist, a support group, close friends or family.
Yeah, it's about having that safe space to be vulnerable.
Absolutely. And don't underestimate the power of self-care. Find what replenishes you, whether it's exercise, meditation, spending time in nature, or pursuing a creative outlet.
Okay, so it's like having this toolbox of coping mechanisms that you can draw on when things get tough.
Exactly.
I love that.
And if you find yourself struggling, don't hesitate to reach out for professional help. There's strength in seeking support when you need it.
100%. Now, this next section, recovery practices, really piqued my interest because it gets into the nitty-gritty.
Yeah.
of maintaining recovery.
Yeah, it's about incorporating practices into your daily life that support your well-being.
Exactly. And there's this one prompt that asks, how does mindfulness or meditation play a role in your recovery? And honestly, I think this is where a lot of people might get tripped up. Because mindfulness can feel kind of vague and intimidating.
Yeah, it can seem that way at first, but it doesn't have to be complicated. At its core, mindfulness is about learning to be present in the moment, without judgment.
Okay, I like that. So how does that tie into recovery specifically?
Well, addiction often thrives on dwelling on the past or obsessing about the future. And mindfulness helps you break free from that cycle and ground yourself in the here and now.
Right.
And ground yourself in the here and now.
Okay, so it's not about like clearing your mind completely. It's more about just noticing
Yeah.
those thoughts and feelings without getting totally swept away by them.
Precisely. And there are also guided meditations, which can be incredibly helpful, especially when you're first starting out.
Right. It's like having a guide for your mind.
Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense.
And the benefits can be profound. Mindfulness can help reduce stress, manage cravings, improve emotional regulation, all crucial aspects of recovery.
Totally. This whole section feels very empowering. Like it's about, taking control of your recovery and finding these practices that really support your well-being. Okay, so ready for the final section?
I am.
This one's called Reflecting on Personal Growth.
Love it. I love anything about growth.
Me too. Who doesn't?
Right.
And this section feels very forward-looking.
It does.
Yeah, it's about recognizing how far you've come and then looking ahead to all the possibilities.
Stepping into your potential.
Yes, exactly. And I think this final prompt really captures it. It asks, how do you envision your life 5 years from now?
Ooh, I like that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's about daring to dream, setting those intentions.
And visualization is powerful. When you can clearly see that desired future, it becomes more real, more attainable.
Totally. It's not just about daydreaming. It's about creating that future. And I think this article with its 50 prompts, it gives us the tools to do that.
It does. It's a roadmap. It helps you navigate all the complexities of recovery and really emerge as this stronger, more resilient version of yourself.
Totally. And it's important to remember that as you go through these prompts, your answers might evolve over time. Yeah, what resonated with you a year ago might hold a completely different meaning to you today.
Exactly. Recovery is an ongoing journey of self-discovery. And these prompts are a tool that you can return to again and again, gaining new insights each time.
So to our listener, as you embark on this journey of addiction recovery journaling, remember to be patient with yourself, embrace the process, and celebrate every step forward.
Cheers to that.
Yes, absolutely.